Most people lose money slowly. Bad investment here, impulse purchase there, a business idea that felt obvious until it wasn't. They blame the market. They blame bad luck. They blame timing. Meanwhile, Warren Buffett has compounded wealth at 20% annually for 60 years. Not one good decade. 6 consecutive decades. Through recessions, crashes, wars, pandemics, and every financial crisis in modern history. Same markets as everyone else. Same information available. Same 24 hours in the day. The difference isn't inside information. It isn't connections. It isn't starting capital. It's a specific way of processing reality that most people never develop because nobody teaches it, and it feels deeply uncomfortable to practice. I'm about to show you exactly what it is. By the end of this, your thinking will be permanently different. Chapter 1. The map problem. Here's the thing that makes most people poor. They confuse their opinion with reality. You read 3 articles that confirm what you already believed. Now you think you understand the situation. You don't. You understand 3 articles written by people who also confused their opinions with reality. Philosopher Alfred Korzybski said it in 1931. The map is not the territory. Your mental model of how something works is not how it actually works. It's a simplification, a compression, useful but incomplete. Always wrong in ways you cannot currently see. Charlie Munger built one of the greatest investment track records in history alongside Buffett. His method was simple, and almost nobody copies it. He spent decades deliberately collecting mental models from every discipline he could find. Physics, biology, psychology, military history, mathematics. Not to become an expert in each field, to collect different maps of how reality behaves. When most investors looked at a company, they saw a financial model. Munger saw a biological organism, a psychological experiment, a physics problem, and a game theory scenario simultaneously. He was looking at the same territory through 12 different maps at once. He saw things nobody else saw because nobody else had bothered to collect that many maps. His term for it was a latticework of mental models. Most investors have 3 or 4 models and apply them to everything. Munger had hundreds. The person with more maps wins. Always. Your immediate action. Pick one discipline completely outside your current field. Study it for 30 days minimum. Not for application, for the map. How does evolutionary biology think about competition? How does thermodynamics think about efficiency? How does military strategy think about asymmetric advantage? Each answer is a new lens. Each lens finds opportunities invisible to everyone using only one. But collecting maps only helps if you've solved the deeper problem first. Chapter 2. The cost of being wrong. Most people think good investing means being right more than you're wrong. Wrong. Venture capitalist Peter Thiel funded Facebook, SpaceX, Palantir, and LinkedIn. His fund's return came almost entirely from 2 or 3 investments out of hundreds. The rest failed or returned nothing. He was wrong the majority of the time by raw count. It didn't matter because when he was right, he was spectacularly right. Mathematician and trader Nassim Taleb spent his career studying this asymmetry. He called it the difference between payoff and probability. Most people optimize for being right often. Smart money optimizes for the size of the payoff when right versus the size of the loss when wrong. If you can structure your decisions so that being wrong costs you 1 unit and being right pays you 10 units, you can be wrong 70% of the time and still win massively. Most people do the exact opposite. They take small safe gains and let losses run because selling feels like admitting failure. They optimize for the feeling of being right instead of the mathematics of outcomes. Practical reframe. Before any significant decision, ask 2 questions only. What's the realistic worst case if this fails completely? What's the realistic best case if this works? If the best case is not dramatically larger than the worst case, the decision isn't worth making regardless of how confident you feel. Confidence is not a strategy. Asymmetry is a strategy. Hit subscribe before you forget. The next chapter is the one that actually separates permanent wealth from lucky streaks. Chapter 3. The patience tax. Here's the uncomfortable truth about how compounding actually works. Most of the result arrives at the end, not gradually throughout. Buffett made 90% of his total net worth after his 50th birthday. Not because he got smarter at 50, because compounding is exponential, and exponential growth is invisible until suddenly it isn't. The problem is that human brains are catastrophically bad at intuiting exponential curves. Psychologist Daniel Kahneman documented this extensively. We linearize everything. We expect progress to arrive in straight lines. When the early compounding period looks flat, we conclude it isn't working and we quit, switch, or sabotage. Jeff Bezos asked Buffett directly, "Your investment framework is simple and well understood. Why doesn't everyone just copy it?" Buffett's answer was immediate. Because nobody wants to get rich slowly. The patience tax is real. The price of compounding returns is tolerating long periods where nothing visible is happening. Most people cannot pay that price, not because they lack discipline, because they lack a mental model that correctly interprets what the flat early curve actually means. It means the system is working exactly as designed. Stanford psychologist Walter Mischel ran the famous marshmallow experiment in the 1960s. Children who could delay eating one marshmallow to receive 2 marshmallows later dramatically outperformed their peers across every life outcome measured: income, health, relationships, academic achievement. The ability to tolerate present discomfort for future payoff predicted almost everything. That ability is trainable, deliberately and specifically. Start small. Pick one area where you currently optimize for immediate feedback. Email response time, social media engagement, short-term revenue. Deliberately extend your time horizon in that one area. Measure outcomes at 6 months instead of 6 days. Your brain learns to read longer curves. The skill transfers. Here's the problem though. You can collect mental models. You can optimize for asymmetric payoffs. You can extend your time horizon. And you will still make catastrophically bad decisions under one specific condition that destroys even the best frameworks. Crowd pressure. When everyone around you believes something confidently, your brain experiences genuine physical discomfort holding the opposite view. Neuroscientist Gregory Burns at Emory University ran brain scans on people who held minority opinions in a group. The discomfort registered in the same neural regions as physical pain. Disagreeing with the crowd literally hurts. This is why intelligent people buy at the top and sell at the bottom. Not from stupidity, from pain avoidance. The crowd creates social proof. Social proof feels like safety. Safety feels like truth. It isn't. Buffett's most famous instruction: be fearful when others are greedy. Be greedy when others are fearful. Simple sentence. Neurologically excruciating to execute. Because executing it means choosing pain deliberately while everyone around you is comfortable. The only solution is pre-commitment. Write down your framework before the crowd pressure arrives. Define in advance what conditions would make you buy, hold, or sell. Then execute the written framework when the moment comes instead of the emotional response the moment generates. Your past rational self protecting your future emotional self. To keep it simple, stupid. Collect mental models from outside your field. Optimize for asymmetric payoffs, not win rate. Train your brain to read exponential curves correctly. And pre-commit your framework before crowd pressure makes rational thought impossible. You were never bad with money. You were just using the wrong mental operating system. Now you have the right one. But here's the thing. Better thinking only compounds if your brain is actually retaining what you're learning between sessions. Most people consume valuable information and lose 90% within a week. That's why I made this video breaking down the exact memory system that makes everything you learn stick permanently. It's almost unfair. Watch it next.